Okay, Jack. Hey, Dee sent me your swing, and you've been not completely honest with me because you're a better golfer than you're saying you are. But which is good. This will be fun. Um, I don't know what you're hitting here. I'm guessing maybe a 9 or 8 iron. It might be a 7. I can't tell. But either way, um, I'm not going to change much on this because we don't have to. And you can let me know. I'll give you my cell. You can text me back. This I seen on this shot. It went like 135 yards and leaked off to the right. Had some left to right side spin on it. So the the only two things I think it'd be easy, and it's easy to practice while you're at home over the winter. But this guy on the right, Jen Park, just a classic swing, professional player. And let me take you both back to the same spot, and you'll see something right off the bat here. Get you guys paired up. So on your both, when you take it back, that yellow line that I drew is going right up your shaft plane, and that's what we just kind of use as a reference point. And now we take it back to what we call parallel, first parallel. You'll see the club head is just about right here. It's just about close to his hands. All right, on the halfway back point. That just means the club is parallel to the ground. And if we look at yours, when you take it back, what you're doing is you're drawing it inside a lot. So when you are halfway, in your first parallel, I can't even see it. I can't even see your club. It's back here where you can see where his is. There. All right. So I'll send you a drill off of YouTube, which just kind of gives you that sensation. And just really what you want to do is kind of add a little more wrist hinge on the backswing. Because what we want to do is, clear these off. Oh, I don't want to do that. Sorry about that. Let me take these back. Put those lines back again. Second. What the feeling is, and it doesn't have to be exact, is that we want to feel like, you'll see, and that club is driving, the head of the club is driving kind of pretty much up that plane, up that line. He gets a little above it, that's fine. But so you want to feel like yours is coming up a little bit. Now, what that does, the reason why we say that, is because about here, you're going to see how much farther back your hands are. Oops, wrong one. Right there, your hands are than his, right? His are more, his club is much more vertical right here, and yours is still way back here. And what that has a tendency to do is, as we keep going back, we'll get up to the top, both places, and both swings. Ideal kind of position is we like our shoulders and our arm at the top to be in the same parallel. And yours are pretty close. It's just a little bit lower than that. And that's from drawing it inside so much. And you also see that your club's a little bit laid off back that direction. Just laid off means not pointing at the target, considering here's your target line. Do those. And his is straight down. There's his target line, and you can see it parallels. It matches up with that. So what that does is allows you on the downswing. If I look, here's your hands, and here's his hands. Now when you start down, you'll see your first move with your hands. See how it goes from there. So your hands kind of move that direction first. And if you watch his hands, they just move straight down. And that just kind of tips your club out a little bit. And if I wouldn't have got rid of the line, it would be just a little bit over it. But you get it, you reroute. Nice, I'll show you. Let me put this back in. You reroute your club nicely back on plane. You do a nice job of coming back down. And on the same idea, on the way down, we want to have that club kind of running down that plane. And you get pretty close to it right there, towards the end, right? You're pretty close. And that's more than acceptable. You can see him, he's almost back on it. Well, he's back on it. But, again, he's a pro, and that's ideal. You can be above it or below it. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever explained, but if you are on this side, so if your club head comes down this way, that means you're coming over the top, over top of that line. If you're coming under this line, that means you're underneath the plane. The underneath one usually means you draw it or push it out to the right, and the one on the top usually means you slice it or push it to the left. Nonetheless, you come down nice and good. The one thing I think that is happening that's causing you to block it is, let me see if I can see his club head here. You might be missing a frame. Not really. But because you're coming in, you're going to see, it's a little bit of a blur, but your club face, it's kind of facing straight up like that if I'm looking at it, right? So you see when you're coming down, see how your club face is a little bit on the open side. And so when you get to here, the club face is open. And what you do then, clear all this off so you can see it, is you go from this little spot here being open to you just then slam it shut. You go, oh my gosh, I'm going to hit it dead to the right. And you release like crazy. So if you, boom, and if you look at your hands, there, you can see now the club face is actually that direction. You can tell by how far your hands rolled over. If you look at his side, because his face was coming in a little bit closed already, see how much more his hands are already moved that direction? And are still, you can't really see him because his body just moved with it instead of having to really flip it hard. So, yeah, that's a little better position right there. You can see how much more his hands are. You can still see the back of his hand here. And yours is already kind of, you can see the knuckles on yours, right? And that just means you just really released it hard, which means you turned the toe over because you're trying to square up the club. So, an easy drill for you to do is at the top of the swing, you will see, zoom up here. This will be perfect. So see at the top of the swings now, see how you have a bend in this wrist. And this wrist is a little bit on the flat side, right? But if I go to him, his is flat here with a bow in this. Oh, what the heck? His is flat there. And he has a little bit of a bend in this back one. Let me draw here. Yeah, so you got kind of the opposite scenario going on his. I'll show yours again. So yours is a little more flat, but have the bend on the front one. So what I want you to do is when you get to the top of your swing, and you may fix this a little bit when you stop coming from the inside of on the takeaway so much. Like I said, when we do that, I'll show you the earlier wrist cock. I'll give you that drill for that. But you watch on his downswing now. When he starts down, see this little bow in his wrist? Watch. Boom. I call that we call that the reverse motorcycle grip. So what he does is he actually puts a bow in his wrist at the top. And what you'll see effectively does is it closes the club face. So now what he has to do when he comes down, so you can, let me see if I can get you guys close to the same place here. That's pretty close. Let me see if I can see his club head. Yeah, it's blurry, but I can't see. But you can see that it's facing this way, where yours is facing straight up. So that means it's wide open. So all he has to do now is just turn, 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 and he doesn't have to flip at the end, where you have to come down, turn, 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 and then you have to flip at it to release it to get it to square up. And if we can just add that little bit of a bow at the top of your wrist, that'll start squaring the club up just that much faster. And then all you'll have to do is just turn through it instead of having to get there and then go whoop. All right. So, because right now I'm guessing you probably either block it out to the right, leak it out to the right, driver, it's going to be a slice, or you snap hook it left, like a low left shot, especially with driver, like a driver. So when you're timing it, it's going to be you're going to hit it nice and straight, probably even with a little bit of a draw. But when you're not timing it, it's either going to be a slice right or a fast hook left. And that all comes down to just, because I don't want to strengthen your grip. Your grip looks good. I mean, that's always an option. But I would just right here at the very top, it's an easy thing to practice. When you get at the top, just think motorcycle grip and see how he just bows it. And that just starts to square the club for you. And I think that'll be an easy fix for you to do. So I will send you a drill, practice drill, which just shows you how to add a little more wrist set on this takeaway right here. Let's see if I can get him back to where he was so you can kind of see how he does it. See how when he takes the club away, the club is going up, where your club head stays really low and around. So like right there, you would want the club head to be even with your, I should be able to put a circle around the club head in your hands. And it should all be in that circle. So what it just means is you are just turning your wrist, and you have see how you have very little shoulder turn? Oops, undo. You have very little shoulder turn compared to how much more his shoulders are turned. Right? So you can kind of feel like your right shoulder is going back and up more. But it'll do that automatically when we put that wrist set in. And so once we get that club tracking back up in the air a little bit higher, not so much around you, then it'll be easier to put that bow in it. Because essentially when you come in, it's kind of, golf is the opposites. When you come in that much from the inside, there's no room at the top, so the first move is kind of out. Whereas his goes up from the inside and then goes that direction. And that's what keeps him, from going off plane. Like I said, you reroute nice. I just want to square that club face up a little bit. I just like to throw you some extra stuff to help you understand what the swing does and what your swing's doing. So basically the easiest thing we're going to do is, one, we're going to fix this takeaway a little bit, which you can stand in the house with the carpeting if you want, and practice this takeaway. And it's going to feel really weird to you. It's going to feel like it's a mile away from you. And then at the top, we're going to put that little bit of a bow into your backswing to help square that club up. The rest of it looks great. So once we square that face up, you're going to probably exit. I don't know what club that was, but you'll pick up 10 yards easy on, because you got plenty of speed. We just got to get that club face squared up. So all right, I'm going to send you this. I put out to my YouTube site. It's not actually a site, just a place I store videos. And then I'll send this to Dee Dee with the link that you can just get on it and watch it from there. And I'll also text you the link. So good swing, nice swing. And tiny little things we can tweak, and we'll get it straightened out. Now, with everything with golf, we tighten up one screw, it may loosen up two more. You're just used to timing and stuff like this. So when we first do this, you may have a lot of balls going left on you, and that's fine. That's what we want. We're trying to get rid of the rights. Once we start getting it going a little bit too left out, we can work on the next thing about not releasing it so hard. And that'll be easy for you to do because you're pretty flexible. But let's just start with that. Right now, we're just kind of go with this swing and be a little push draw where it starts off a little bit right at target and works its way back to target. And I think with, a range ball, bucket of range balls, we can probably get you hitting much more consistent, kind of get that built into it, and then we'll go from there. All right, buddy. Hope you had a good Christmas/birthday, and talk to you. Bye.